Oke, adaptive planning. Oke, mungkin terkait kita lanjut terkait domain 5 adaptive planning. Oke, kita sudah bahas tentang PowerPoint-nya, sekarang kita bahas tentang back. Oke, PowerPoint-nya sudah dibahas, sekarang kita bahas baca make briefing-nya. Ini terkait affinity estimating sudah, agile sizing, daily stand up, defining and testing accurate acceptance criteria, estimating initial velocity, estimating task, phase failure, ideal time, iteration planning process, planning poker, creative sizing, slicing story, spike, stories back specs. Oke, wet band Delphi. Oke, ini ada agile value proposition. Nah, ini cerita terkait the flexible approach to planning provide the increased adaptability component of the agile value proposition. We have already discussed 3 elements of this proposition in chapter 2 and 3, early delivery business value, early reduction of risk, increased visibility indicator, agile team. Oke, life cycle value proposition. In agile planning isn't one time standalone activity. Iterative planning efforts continue throughout development process, even down the team project meeting. As a result, topic will discuss ini. Oke. Jadi ini perbandingan antara agile sama traditional development. Kalau misalkan tradisional itu dari awal sampai akhir turun, naik lagi visibility-nya. Kalau misalkan agile di atas terus gitu ya. Kalau adaptability-nya, kalau agile terus, kalau tradisional turun terus mendatar adaptability-nya karena prediktif kan, ada tradisional. Kalau business value-nya kalau agile terus meningkat gitu ya. Tapi kalau tradisional naik sampai naik kecil terus sampai naik gitu kan. Ini business value-nya tingginya pasti akhirnya kalau tradisional. Oke, kalau risikonya kalau agile development terus sampai akhirnya kalau misalkan tradisional stabil baru nanti pas projectnya sudah selesai baru turun. Nah, perbedaannya. Oke, agile planning konsep, adaptive planning. Oke, plan to replan, agile versus non-agile planning. Before we turn to concept in planning agile, let's take some time to compare the planning approach of agile and non-agile project. Agile planning differs from traditional planning in 3 key ways. Okay, trial and demonstration, uncover the true requirement, which then require pre-planning. Terus juga agile planning is less and upfront effort and is instead done throughout the project. Mid-course adjustment are the norm. Oke, ada 3. Let's support ini trial and demonstration, uncover the true which they require planning. Okay, so integrative very detailed specification and plan. Agile project builds a prototype to better understand the domain and use this prototype as the basis of further planning and elaboration. Okay, terus as we said, the knowledge work project are often intangible and the project requirements are difficult to articulate. Rarely do we build the exact same system twice, which make it difficult to create analogies to existing functionality. This issue can lead to a gulf of evaluation, where mismatch develop between the team's interpretation of the original requirements and the customer goal. Okay, executing is complex, creative, and high risk endeavor. Okay, the planning emphasis traditional approach, as indicated, the green region planning is predominantly done in early in the project life cycle. Okay, planning in project life cycle. Okay, Oke, ini tradisional ya. Tapi kalau misalkan agile method accept the realities of knowledge work project deliverable, they make planning a more visible and interactive component. Kemudian in the figure below, the repeated green ini ya tradisional ya. Again, section has planning throughout the life cycle on agile project. Oh, dia planning gitu ya. Jadi repeated gitu ya. Level of activity. Kalau ini tradisional kan, agile. Okay, if you add something, no matter planning risk graph ini ya, time and effort investment plans. Okay, kalau corollary risk and doing too much upfront planning kan. Okay, planning lost the inadequate plans, ini loss due to market share erosion. Planning sweet spot, ini risk, time and effort invested in plans. The dotted line on this the diagram represents the risk involved in doing too much upfront planning. This risk starts off low, but as more time and effort is invested in upfront planning, the risk of creating a very detailed brittle plan increase, as does the risk of delaying the delivery of value and return on investment because of the amount of time spent planning. Okay, Bohem's conclusion is that we should aim the sweet spot where the sum of these two risks is lowest. Okay, corollary risk ya. Yes. Okay. Mid-course adjustment are the norm. Okay, ini. Okay, aiming direct static target using guided missile approach to moving target. Okay. This point take away the analogies that the method don't shy away from planning. They just take a different approach that is better suited to a quickly changing environment. Planning occurs on agile project first with a high level plan. Okay, project agile teams also factor as lot of feedback into this ongoing planning process. For example, with backlog prioritization, effect iteration and release plans, feedback from iteration demonstration, generate product change any requirements, retrospective, generate change to the team's process and technique. Okay, exercise. Test your knowledge and concept if just discussed by completing the following true or false quiz. Okay, agile project typically do more upfront planning than traditional project. False. Agile project typically do more overall planning than traditional project. True kan ya terus ya. If we create our plan at the last responsible moment, they will not change. No false. Change creating plan at last responsible moment can have quite some change, but can prevent all change. Okay. Mid-course adjustment and agile are not common. Mid-course salah ini kan because it is accepted as a project. Let's work through project tend to have high rates of change. Ya true lah mungkin ya, knowledge itu rates often reviewed novel planning them. If the project differs from the original, this could be a sign our initial plan was flawed. True, initial plan for knowledge work. Are always like to be flawed. Okay, if the project differs from the original plan, this could be a sign our initial plan was flawed. Flow itu apa ya? Flow with. If it different from the original plan, this could be a sign our initial plan was flawed. Ini apa istilahnya? Distorsi gitu ya. True ya. Initial plan for knowledge work project are always likely to be flawed. Ya jadi berubah gitu ya istilahnya tidak seperti yang plan gitu kan. Okay, principle of agile planning, plan at multiple levels. Okay, engage the team and the customer is planning, manage expectation by frequently demonstrating progress, extrapolating velocity, tailor process to the project characteristic, update the plan based on the project priorities, ensure encompassing estimates that account for risk, distraction, and team availability. Use appropriate estimate range to reflect the level of uncertainty in the estimate based projection on completion rates, factor in diversion and outside work. Okay, plan and multiple level. Ini sebagaimana terlampir. Okay, engage the team and the customer in planning. Okay, ini ya. Okay, manage expectation by the frequently demonstrating progress and exploring velocity. Gimana terlampir. Okay. Terus tailor process to the project characteristics. Terlampir. Okay. Update the plan based on the project priorities. Terus ensure and composite estimate that account for risk, distraction, and team availability. Terus use appropriate estimate to reflect the level of uncertainty estimate. Okay. Base projection on completion rate, factor in diversion of and outset work. Itu adalah faktor-faktor yang terkait dengan principle of agile planning konsepnya. Oke, agile discovery. Oke, emergent plan and design, process prediction and design, pre-planning, backlog refinement, how it is performed, estimating uncertainty, and characteristic of new product development versus well understood and repeatable project, progressive elaboration, plan estimate, definition, scenarios. Okay, level of planning early in project when using progressive elaboration, upfront planning, schedule now, the release planning, 80-50% schedule, close out, 60%. Itu adalah level of planning early in project when using progressive elaboration ya. 50-50% iteration ya kan. Oke, using progressive elaboration. Oke. Level of planning later in the project when using progressive elaboration ya. Jadi awalnya kan jenis 90%, terus naik di 80-90%. Di sini yang paling banyaknya. Baru terakhir 5% di close out. Oke, for rolling wave planning. Rolling wave planning is PMI system of strategic planning multiple points. Information about project rolling wave planning is the game plan that say we won't try and do all our planning upfront. We recognize that will be better to plan a bit, then revisit and update our plan multiple times throughout the project. Okay. Progressive planning is what we do to incorporate new information in our plan as we progress with the project. It is how we implement the rolling wave planning approach. Okay, we do the implement to our plan as we progress with the project. It is how we implement the rolling wave planning approach. Value-based analysis. Value-based analysis is process assessing and prioritizing the business value of work item and then planning accordingly. This project continues over a full life cycle of a project, impacting how we scope, plan, schedule, develop, test, and release work. Okay, at every stage of the project, we are asking what is the business value of this item or practice, and what item in this set have the highest business value. We then prioritize the work to deliver the highest valued item first. Okay, business benefit, okay, feature $5,000 and cost, what cost $4,000. The fat is not available, so something delivered low in value, the business will only $1,000 to develop. Oke, so yang paling besar itu ada yang $3.000. And if you're level of operating with factor like the backlog, then quickly itu ada factor we will saving sometimes it's value, time is value, value was the competition, value contribution here the command from stakeholder group that's done thanks to recommend that full privatization for on the figure. What is this might look like a typical agile project in product, feature workshop, design of product box, vision, advertise, feature workshop, candidate feature list, baru yang baru feature list, selected feature, terus baru decompose feature into stories, develop the stories and demos them as features. Okay, get business feedback and hold retrospective, plan development flat length, increment of new functionality. Ini example of value-based analysis and decomposition process. Oke, ini sama macro level decomposition the top three feature of the new product feature in the functional element of the feature are drawn out in the feature of feature are then prioritized and consumed by the development cycle. Okay, the way of metaphor exercise and stakeholder capture the vision for the project and reach consensus around a common mission, goals, and success criteria. Number of product version, logo, graphic, present the idea, top 3 feature or objective gitu kan. On the back of the product description, list of remaining feature, operating requirement. Okay, continue with our example of decomposition feature in process. In step 2, stakeholder hold a series of feature workshops in which the project vision is broken down into potential feature of the system. This workshop result in candidate feature list. Step 3, in the final step, that is a product based on base value and risk. Get the product backlog that the team will use to complete the iterative development process. Step 4 kan, step 4 itu adalah ini iterative development cycle. Okay, progress elaboration in action. Okay, the iterative is not a whole agile method use progress evaluation in the value-based decomposition process. We pull forward element of the project in the level of detail that is appropriate for the project phase we are in and how we want to know about the project into a format can do. We then elaborate those elements, adding increasing level of detail and transforming them into a format that can be further refined in subsequent process. The end product of this process is a highly detailed deliverable that is still true to the original design objective. Coarse grain requirement. Agile method don't attempt to specify fully detailed if requirement upfront. Instead, we initially keep the requirement coarse grain and then progressively refine them as the planning course continues, as well as number of advantages they have. Keep the overall design balance to sell the product. Okay, this means we are not the again many paradox balancing and we aim to make decisions. We also will increment so then is to get the feedback out of this approach sound illogical. It really an effective way to mitigate risk and avoid what problem and change with friendly project environment where this, where change costs less than in the more hostile production environment, where changes are much more expensive to make. Okay, delay implementation, feedback, all the scopes, is to find about problem, style, so very chances for responsive to make. Okay, time boxing. Agile planning ini pakai time box ya, fixed duration. Ini oke, ini sudah dibahas tadi dari sana fixed duration. Oke, time box have bring some level of order consistently the value for work environment. They offer regular does result, data feedback, and control the cost and risk associated with the endeavor. This is why time box have been referred to as control in the chaos. They provide frequent checkpoint where the team can gauge their progress and replan their ongoing approach. Another way to think about time box iteration is to imagine an about represent teams capacity accomplished. So okay, time box, okay, sudah kemarin dibahas. Tip, you can also use time box in process in preparing for the PMI session. Timer coming to get set, beginning to study with no distraction. Then don't check your email or phone or let yourself get sidetracked from studying. Disadvantage of send time over digital timer. The natural and the send is have to quick visual reading of the time remaining, also the failing cigarette and sensitive rapidly splitting. The loss is the digital corner. And as a timer constantly remind you that time is passing, but so you get on it. Okay. Parkinson law, personalized syndrome. Cognitive practice, so and loss syndrome. Parkinson law start the talk tend to expand to fill the time available. In other words, if we have 3 months designated for gathering requirement, we will definitely spend all 3 months gathering requirement because ideal project focus on short time boxes as such as present 1 or 2 weeks. There is less time to fill. Good investment syndrome is that when people are given a deadline, they tend to wait until they have nearly reached the deadline before they start working. Short time box will already mean that the next deadline is never far away. Then this helps estimate ranges. The DI syndrome. When people are given a deadline, they tend to wait until they have nearly reached the deadline before they start working. Okay, the short time box on agile period means that the next deadline is never far away, and this helps keep people focused. Okay, oke itu bedaan Parkinson law sama sindrom student syndrome. Okay, expert knowledge-based approach is looking at created similar accuracy along the project took. We can also perform parametric calculation based methods such as bottom-up estimating the road based on labor and complexity of user stories. Another way to manage expectation, both 88 and 10 stated for the project A. The B is like A project B is 99 mean this what level to reflect the team's confidence in their estimate range and manage expectation. And working diagram very Bohum estimate convergence graph. Estimate convergence graph, project cost, makin lama makin kecil, initial ke complete, lama-lama jadi kecil ya. Project vision, created, scope agreed, the user story created, storage completed, completed. Okay, background information, why do we estimate administrative scheduling project, or when do we estimate adjusting estimate last responsibly moment before the work is done, upfront estimate, gini, okay, who is estimate, so estimating of our work, how are estimate create, estimate are created by progressing through the stage of sizing, estimate, and planning to create holistic estimate the development rollout. How should estimate be stated? Ada always some degree of sensitivity at our estimate. Therefore, estimate should be strange or ini okay. Ideal time when ini okay. And ideal times estimate as how long a task will take if all and other peripheral work and distraction are removed. Okay. It assumes that what work being estimated is only thing that is being worked on, that there are uh, yeah. Okay, ideal time yeah. Okay. Okay, and ideal time estimate as follow. Gitu kan, adalah how long the restriction removal it assume that work estimate uh, okay, itu ideal time ya. Okay. Okay, ideal time ya. Restriction remove ya. Oke, kita lanjut ke exercise ideal time, likely time. Ideal time, if preparing for exam, progress take 60 minutes and we have 30 hours day available. Do we need to calculation? Ya, 60 bagi 12 ya. It should we take 5 days to complete the studying required by the likely time. To come likely estimate with all the stakeholder around like work and family in the fact perhaps it's more realistic to assume that Fred will keep for a week. Okay, you can do the following. Yes. Okay. Planning. Is there the process of converting requirement into assessment and plans? Because Drop the specific sequence as shown below. Size, how big is it? Estimate how quickly can we get through it? Plan how we can do it. Oke, rekomendasi ya sebagaimana telah hampir sudah dibahas. Ya, terus juga rekomendasi just in time, epic feature story, business with culture, terus dibahas story, small chunk of the business. Hmm. Terus 1 and 3, just in time effort 40 hour, agile breakfast and index. So they also prioritize backlog of these stories and align the teams with the customers needs. Rating the user story. Okay, ini dia user story. Search for movie at movie to chart complete order. The team has estimated that each of these candidate stories will take about 3 days to build. Although that's on a large site for a user story, it's fine the initial planning proposed. However, the candidates story aren't fully stories yet. Okay, formatnya SI, ini I want to, ini I want to. Okay, and that's fine. That's everything, but is that uh, is focus is get you guys we are doing this or every piece of science or functionality that's helpful become auto common completed with the have no clear on or universal understood. Okay, choosing actor for user stories. Okay, given when then. Okay, rewrite as role functionality. Okay, system kan. Okay, so this as business you want to distribute business and I want to membership again as so I want to all financial transaction business credit card program protect from issues. Okay, the three C's. Okay, because we are the three C's card configuration and confirmation. Let's look each of these components in more detail. Card. The use card include is enough to identify the story because the card simply a token that represents the agreement of planning purpose. Did they provide all inclusion agreement? We could be it as content for conversation with the product owner, the card reminder, the requirement, when the is complete conversation, confirmation. Okay. First characteristic of winning user story. Okay, first independent. Okay, independent. Uh, we want to be able to prioritize and develop our user stories in any order. This is hard to achieve. We try to enable user reflected merit and then drag into raw release because other user stories are dependent on them. Negotiable. Just print with prints voltage. Okay, jadi yang ini. Okay, independent negotiable. Okay, valuable estimator small stable. Okay, background information. For example, Fix the backlog, product backlog. As customer I want to product ini asset or want to ini high protein, medium protein, low protein. Okay, conditional thing. Okay, repeating room hacha. Karena produk clarifying grooming the backlog. Clarifying the backlog. Ya, seperti biasa ya. This project is giving out the backlog, updating and score running or running and selling. Okay, detail some. The type of method. Okay, so job approach challenge to use the very accurate is you need to make to setting a story point. Okay, student saw that in general people are not very good at mistake obsolete estimate. Okay, kadang-kadang juga suka salah. How does the Javis challenge it turns out to not accurate estimate uncomfortable fit? Okay, in between. Okay, people work different scope rather than move discussion and they focus on beberapa item. Oke, 13. Oke, 13. Oke, minimize. Oke, ini estimating the frequency square. The frequency is common signal to covering the growth rapid. Oh, ini frequency. Oke, it depends on the definition of the story point. Okay, story point and the point estimate space will begin getting complicated before some agile customers are enforcing by they should include by through documentation testing through the time box office as the SLS by cannot be there. Agile shows time box embossed on ETV. Agile shows oke ini nol 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 semua ya, true ya. Oke, okay, and then symmetrically are coming incoming in error because the unit is okay, okay. I think if the our encompassing the head should be documentation the person cannot be an estimate. Okay, okay, finish estimating. Ya betul. Serpent given the suit. Okay, they could change team story. Okay, Serpent is not inclusive. The point size should relative. The ini complexity ini. Okay, background process inventory low as our mindset about story provide. We can use background. Okay, so then agile is no penting. We should time for yeah to just a time work one estimated are set they cannot author through okay. Masih. Agile estimate are time box one estimate are set cannot be altered. Enggak lah. Terus agile estimate are created by product owner. Enggak lah. Enggak penting. Story point are fully called no story because no story are true. Agile teams create on estimate true is based on estimate. Okay, agile team creates this faster user passing. Terus team moves community diagram. Ini aja proses. Nah ini dia estimating story point. T-shirt sizing, okay, level of estimating, doing first room estimating, okay, real movie, okay, transit point, okay, flow regardless of input data, so plans below, okay. Now is story, story map, story map. Although the first okay, product roadmap. So this to the product owner to communicate roadmap. Okay, although telephone, okay, confirm the plan will get the plan. Okay, it's a visual depiction of the product release in the those review the primary pattern with the pros, importance, capacity, for example, of product owner when story plan. First, second, and third, we can show the to this product with our plan for this three release. Okay. Aldebaran is a group based estimation technique. The technique submits estimate anonymously. Also now has met with estimate the anonymity produce improve estimate because it's only physical legal bias that can visit or inflow estimate including bandwagon effect, important people, their opinion, hypo decision making, high pace, Expect person opinion. People gravitate to the idea of aspect of career rather than judging our own merit. Nobody wants to disagree with the boss. Group thing, people make decision to maintain group harmony rather than expressing their honest opinion. Yeah, something the best military be value because it is creative, versatile time, adaptive, collaborative. Planning poker is the collaborative game. Players playing card to use the is a significant during the end of the estimation. Let's say book playing poker or another set that them to happen to consensus reasonable training, we need a short time box, you need to list of iteration until we have one more release as below. So the gel project kita harus decompose the iteration goal, not continue decomposition. Okay, the possible moment. Okay, types of iteration. The activity dan iteration are the heart of the gel development process. However, not all of iteration are equal. Some play specialized on the project. The most common types of iteration are the development sandbox during this team build increment of the product as explained above. This iteration plan from the build product in project initiation, releasing iteration, project closeout, version A, building sprint, zero, iteration build, iteration doesn't involve building and development to the customer. Other than that, its nature, blank scope depend brand, but in any case, the work undertaken in iteration zero should be limited to just enough for the first development iteration to be successful. Once of preparation work has been completed, the development iteration in this example, at this building, and the special iteration, first iteration, early sprint, stabilizing, documenting the product, compiling the final assembly, completing additional testing. Okay, variant version 0 and optional element. Okay, however, if this specialized not in the spike on the project, okay, spike, spike ada dua macam, yaitu spike arsitektur dan juga spike spike. Spike are a key tool that agile team use to head off problem and resolve them as early as possible. Spike is a short effort that's devoted to exploration and approach investigating an issue or reducing a project risk. Oke, ada dua arsitektur spike is a short time bomb effort Oke, ini. Okay, although spike can be done at any time during a project, they often take the form to a brief exploratory iteration or proof of concept effort that are done the start of project before the development effort begins. When used in this way, the spike may look very similar to iteration 0, but it is really same thing. But because the spike is more flexible than iteration 0, the essence is simply because on the setting, the state for the initially for development effort, but the spike can be used to investigate a wide range of issue at any time. Okay, architecture spike is a short time box effort dedicated to proof of concept in order worth checking whether the approach the team hopes to use will work for the project. For example, we make set we will spend 1 week testing performance of the native database drivers before making a decision of on connectivity. Or we need to test the viability of using straw as the renewable home insulation product. The idea is to explore the viability of an approach or candidate solution in a short time frame. We are seeking to answer a question like can we do it or address stakeholder concern like prove it will work to see if we can use the approach we have in mind. Okay, a risk-based spike. A risk-based spike is short time box the teams try to investigate and hopefully reduce or eliminate an issue or threat to the project. The short experiment to investigate risky portion benar-benar are key tool for risk management. Oke, dia risk ya kalau misalkan ini ya. Sample imagine we are building a container based on algae production unit to capture carbon dioxide, CO2 emission. This production unit call for underwater lighting using a cheaply available part. In this case, we might undertake a spike to test waterproofing option for the fluorescence tubing. By testing various options in short, small-scale experiment, we can reduce the risk associated with the key component to the project development, cost-effective underwater lighting, early and at low cost. If this exercise is successful, then we can eliminate that risk and project's overall risk profile will be reduced as shown below. Here we can see that our risk-based spike in January to test the underwater lighting approach was successful, so we were able to eliminate that risk. So in the next chapter, okay. Algae project risk profile, cost-effective exhaust gas recovery insulation, biomass surface algae cross contamination. Risk after I use a software project to test unfamiliar or new technology early in the project before we proceed too far with development. Jadi bedanya kalau arsitektur sudah proof of concept. Kalau yang ini belum, ini masih baru lah gitu. Risk based spec. A project for example, imagine the organization immediate priority rise. Can we interface the old legacy system from a mobile device? We might use a rack based spec to investigation before we continue too far down the path of analyzing, designing, and developing the feature. Oke, jadi ini juga begitu kan. Ini early in this exercise, you can eliminate the risk and the project overall risk profile will be reduced as shown below. Here we can reduce our best risk spike in January to test that it was successful. So we were able to eliminate that risk. Gitu. Jadi lihat dulu. This one chart, which will is in the next chapter. Kalau udah sukses, baru boleh cumulative risk-nya gimana. Fast failure is a proof concept isn't successful. You can try different, but none of the approach we try are successful. We reach condition known as fast failure that we sound bad. Fast failure can be good outcome rather than continuing a project that we have eventually failed. We have remaining funds or such failure count not directed to other projects that are waiting resources. Fast failure, late failure. Okay, save resources, early risk reduction via risk-based spike, late risk reduction kan, jadi harus di fast failures ya. Research and development, business development, that so therefore this kind fast failure can greatly reduce the sunk cost invested in viable project with that fast failure. I suspect using a straw in the link life in the walls as long we learn this quickly had they haven't based the whole project upon this approach we can move on and try some other material for renewable insulation. Okay. Okay, think about how each of the following issue might be investigated through a risk-based spike and describe what should exercise you would undertake to prove the concept or explore the risk. We are not certain whether the remote that okay center can validate included card application in the two subsequent response time needed to ensure a reasonable customer experience. Okay, this is classic technical risk that can be investigated by small scale process. We need to do some performance benchmark tests to for various time or the day and the various activity loads and then measure the response time to see if the two subsequent response time is achievable. Okay, we do not know if Project Alpha has solid management support and we have concerns about getting approval for buying the development and production machine when it comes time to do so. Okay, this back spike ya. Kalau yang ini can validate technical risk ya, classic technical risk ya. Kalau misalkan we do know you are not center remote data center can validate application into analysis. Okay, we do not know if project apa has solid management and we have concern getting approval for buying the development and production machine when it comes time to do so. Can people also after arrest the spike with technical work, but there is nothing stopping us from also using this support for this environment. So, for this if you are not sure whether there is support for to order just the development and production machine in the first iteration project and surface the issue sooner rather than later. Project data will require working with that in database group again. And the last time we had to do that there were there were major arguments about approach and approval. Okay, this is another time technical risk, and we can again use a risk-based spike to address how about scheduling work with that as early as possible in the project so we can find a way to improve the relationship and get things to do more smoothly this time. If the approach fails, then at least we know about the issue and can planning of the work so that this problem doesn't jeopardize the success of the project. Exploring the issue will give us time to have resolve it within the project or escalate it to other outside of the project who can address it. Okay, high level planning visioning. Before we can start planning, the first release we need to complete the high level visioning process. This involves identifying and roughly sizing the product feature and user story. Here we are trying to do just enough estimation to map out the overall effort required for the project to get from start to the date. We built our initial course green estimate using tools such as ability estimating, story map, and product roadmap. We could be simplified as the project continues. Participants in the high level estimating are likely to include product owner, sponsor, team member, delivery to major stakeholders. As we call early planning, we will make enough committed to output high level planning. Itu adalah an update to the backlog by successfully engaged as one Excel. To kick off the planning process, the customer needs to analyze all the feature and related to the upcoming list by the business value so that we can pull the most important stories from the top of the backlog, high level coherent estimate to issue the story, high level planning we need to have clear size, user stories and list response action related to the release goal in course gain terms and group them into relative feature size. Okay, a release goal focus on customer value. With the above element in place, we we will go about doing that. A target that for the release, we discussed the release over release, we also come up with the target that can simply be based on the customer requirement or take into account the things already velocity, cost, and estimate. Release planning. Release planning done in a meeting with all stakeholders are present. This meeting is held before we start work on it to release the goal. This meeting is to determine which stories will be done in which iteration of activity and less detail the subsequent release. Okay, during the release planning meeting, we will assess the release log, review the assessing and the assessing the SDA. Usia refine needed, six stories will be done, camera small to be complete with one iteration. Okay, should have a self-instant release goal, list of stories to be done, the manageable time, or for complete the stories, for will be done in the future release. Okay, after Scrum, we will be next week, day 2 is selecting the operated velocity, less slicing the story. Okay, so finish for the release, list the release maybe driven, functioning driven, capture, delivery renewal, whatever, how to plan, to the processing, develop, to deliver this release. Must have, should have, could have, yeah. Ini juga zero ya, coming ini. Okay, how we can get done the agile velocity and trend velocity tracking chart using operational preventive velocity velocity. Okay, ini saya masih hasil 40 points. It is into 40 we broke past 50% from 7, 55. While we want to calculate base case delivery, maximum velocity is 55 point. Prediction the going fairly velocity standardization. So we assume that lower usage based on data 48. The point for iteration would be more specific. However, the most likely available data is 57 for iteration. So now let's say where can we get done, look find out, you can look with different time, we start with targeting iteration, we want to produce another point where functionality, we then end up going to the backlog item, looking from the top down until we reach the point. Okay, because one is example, takes you back to the must have, should have functionality as well as could have. So basically, it looks like we deal with this operation have issue. We do not try to commit or to functionality that we can deliver within a release. Estimating velocity for the first iteration. As you've seen, plan are usually based on the team average velocity, but when estimating the first few iterations, the first few release, we don't have any velocity data yet, so this is special case to estimate and service estimate testing yang buat tujuan however, we also need to consider 10% additional work we are likely to 100 minutes for 20 because calculated in 24 but actually the risk they require is uh, 11 more iteration and slicing the stories. One of the key activities is planning the implement breaking down stories that are too large to complete it within one iteration. There are two ways: slice the small chunk depending on the later component of the slicing component stories. Slicing component stories include independent stories within it. In other, it includes multiple goals. As a customer, when in one iteration, follow the story are part of the organization, they are independent of each other. Okay, component I want to come out, I want the browse this. I want to create movies. I want to forecast movie with a credit card. Classic composition is one really big. It has to spread goals, store, story, data to reform the thing with small speeches. How to get done, the goal, creating the movie database, learn over multiple threads, the small speeches. All the spark stories, they will be all divided into segments. All that we plan, how much we want to accomplish in each iteration, the functional will be visible until it is completely done. Okay, for now I want to be able to choose for a lot of database movies so that I can find the one that I want to watch. The team is slicing the story is small enough. Notice that the process doesn't involve the building the story into the past unit to build them. Okay, the next slide, iteration planning. Okay, iteration planning begin with a meeting that includes the delivery team, product owner, and possibly other stakeholder or subject matter expert as needed. Why for the planning done in the meeting is highly detailed and as a rule, meeting run for and by delivery team. The customer role in the discussion is usually limited to answering questions and making sure the team understand of the requirement is correct. For example, the customer might speak up, but the team seem to be over engineering to product beyond what is actually needed for the solution. Like release planning, iteration planning look at a backlog that has been freshly prioritized by the product owner. The other input required for this meeting is goal for the iteration. Usually this goal have set for implementation, although it might need to be updated if circumstances have changed. In the first follow, product owner describe the backlog items they like to see developed in the sprint, or the team members select a set of items that they think are achievable. The customer has the final say on the priorities for the iteration. The development team has the final say on the amount of work that can be accomplished in the iteration. In the second half of the meeting, the team breaks down the backlog items into smaller units of work tasks to come up with the list of the action item for the iteration. They then discuss how the work will be done and make a commitment to undertake the work until within the sprint time box. In the second half of the meeting, the team breaks down selected work smaller unit, not all the individual. The internal planning process discuss the user stories in the backlog, select the user stories in the iteration, define the certain criteria, write the certain tests for the storage, break down the user into tasks, estimate the test for the task, yeah. Okay. Internal planning summary discuss the user story in the backlog and the dependencies. Ini cerita dulu dia di depannya discuss story in the backlog and the dependencies. Okay, select the user story for the iteration, select. Okay. Define a certain criteria to write a certain test for the storage juga plus define dulu a certain criteria dan juga menulis a certain test in this for storage yang mana break the storage into task. Okay, break the storage into task. Okay, estimate the task in ideal time, then assign and schedule them in the real time. Okay, estimate. Okay, nanti schedule them in the Example, you should know the convention part of the user story to take the define as a clear step in the process, although the customer final component will come later in the iteration. Oh, iteration review configuration line the team understanding of story was customer configuration identify the customer acceptance criteria for the story. Okay, to complete the discussion iteration involve selecting the user story. Okay, 50 story point, iteration planning goal, empowerment, the closest technical ini schedule or conversely they make confident the upcoming improvement so while the team member project is set the counter be set that okay defining the second criteria writing the second test okay business rule below is five in online five criteria being used at this point the tests have been run once the trial first column with the results history as a customer I want to pay for shopping card item credit so can I can movie okay test bisa pass fail required pass fail okay the important notice that the sound maybe pass failed for example we want to fail last three we want and then pass then estimating the task okay ini contoh-contohnya ya jadi mulai selecting the user story okay terus juga ada defining acceptance criteria define terus dan juga creating acceptance test. Oke, terus juga estimating the task, bagaimana mengestimasi the task. And when the list, you might be aware that some agile teams just estimate their story in point to leave it before in the common community going forward to estimate tasks. To consider this less preference for estimating tasks, the real time isn't a mandatory step. However, you should understand how this is done and cast it appear of the exam. Okay, in the task card, task detail, okay. Remember, ideal time estimates are made in terms of the effort, not duration. They reflect a time required to complete the task that can run without any distraction, delay, and or availability issues. Story number, development name, task description. Story number, development name, task description. Okay, task card example. Ideal time estimated ya. Okay, in this card, notice this that isn't written in the story format. Profile habis unit. Because the task don't need to explained by the customer, so the team will record them in the technical terminology, so rather than the user story format. Once we have pulled out the then we add up the times, estimate all the compare, all total, the total time available at the point, start the specific. However, assignment like it so they will be only be penalized to the last responsible moment before the work is done. Okay, although the initial task assignment, starting point translating, allow there's we need to calculate our cost discipline. Exercise project beta is ya dikit lagi. Exercise project beta is being estimated on ideal days, assuming at our days 5 days work week. Kita lagi domain 5. Project beta is being estimated ideal days, assuming it's our days. Okay, and 5 days work week. Each of the 5 people on the team average 30 hours of availability for the project each week. How many ideal days works of work can they commit to deliver in their next 10 days iteration? Okay. Okay, answer 5 people, 5 people, each of the people on the average hour. Okay, 10 hour. Okay. Okay, terus 10 hour per week. kali 2 week. Project ada 8 hour per day, 8 hour day and 5 days per week. Okay. The each of 5 people, they average 30 hours. Okay. Available for the project this week. Okay. How many days of a week? Extraction gitu kan ya, 5 orang. Oke, 30 hour. Oke. 160. Oke, 160 hour per week dikali berapa ini ya? For attend the iteration apa dikali 2? No, iya. 10 day ya, 10 day ya, cuma ya dibagi 5 kan, 2 kan. Oke, 2 day work week kan. Oke, berarti 150 dikali 2, 300 hour per hour. 300 ya, dibagi 8. Oke. 8 hour per hari kan. 37,5 ideal developer day work of work. Oke, 37,5 ideal pay day work of work. Oke. Use actualization to refine estimate. The reason why value to completed iteration can be used to estimate project progress fairly accurately is because iteration involve all discipline of development. Remember that in software development, usually should be vertical slice of functionality that cut through all the relevant architecture layers of the system. This means we will get exposure to the different aspect of the development. Okay, use actualizer to refine estimates. As an agile project progress, the iteration provide hard evidence of real progress. We can now start factoring in the velocity of complete iteration to better judge our true progress and estimate the remainder of the project. The reason why the velocity of completed iteration can be used to estimate project progress fairly accurately is because iteration involve all disciplines of development. Remember that in software development, your story should be a vertical slice of functionality that cut through all the relevant architectural layer of the system. This means we will get exposure to the different aspect of the development effort in its iteration, and therefore we will quickly be able to rely less on our upfront estimate and instead increasing our emerging velocity. We can also compare our velocity to the remaining backlog to estimate the timeline for the project completion. Oke, ini dia threshold estimate, agile estimate approach start project timeline. For example, if after the phase 3 of 4 iteration, our velocity has stabilized and okay, for example, if the first 3 of iteration, our velocity has stabilized at average 50 point per 2 week, the backlog of remaining work contains 500 points worth of functionality. It is reasonable to assume that will take 10 more iteration to complete the remaining work for 150 and 10. Okay. Auto rate with the data given, let's say we have 3% Bob John and Tina for Bob during 10 days by 10 hours by his rate 50 per hour, total of 5,000. 10 days by 8 hour by set 80 per hour to get 6,400. 10 days for 8 hour 595 per hour 7,600. Trade rate 10,000 we instead for return we can calculate how much cost to complete the remaining backlog feature on the scale is 10,000 iteration dollar. Okay, this reading here actual and stable then osmotic interpreting covering ini we can see the listen up. Once we took underway on micro level, we start our agile planning tools. They keep everyone focused on digit upon focus, scope, and interaction goal and provide an early warning system for issue, allowing them to be resolved before they can derail the team's progress. The meeting are called stand up to make sure that daily stand up or time box 15 minutes. Allow the often time box during the meeting. Each team member in turn briefly answer the following question: what have you worked since last meeting? What do you plan to finish today? What are the any problem ultimate to your progress? Okay, daily stand up kan ini. Okay, this the ground rule for daily stand up. If you have a task, you must attend. Only those who have tasks can talk. Speak to the team, not the coach or scrum master. No set conversation. Create a new sticky notes to each new task that is started. Discuss issue after the meeting. Solve problem offline. Notice that the scrum master is stand up delivery team. Others stand up that participate in it. Although the product owner or other interested parties might attend it and observe. But fundamentally, the daily stand up for the team and by the team. The purpose of the daily stand up is to provide the daily review of tasks and issues to keep the team up to date and focus on their iteration goal. Since this meeting ensures that each team member know that what everyone is doing, it helps them coordinate their efforts so that the work flows smoothly. It also keeps the coach informed about issue and impediment on daily basis so that he or she can take action to resolve them. Another benefit is the daily stand up negate the need for writing weekly status report or holding traditional go around the room. So this meeting is tend to take longer than 15 minutes. So, exactly for the instructor, remember the center ground rules and the point that this meeting for the exam for the team by the team members speak to other but scrum coach you should know that the stand up is strictly limited the strict question and time of is 50 minutes. Okay, consider the discussion stand up really check appropriate column. Okay, answer. My PC still did not run. This is impediment. Okay. I finished testing the launcher. Uh, Completed snippet about project progress and this is a valid topic. I think we should add a turbo booster. This conversion suggested a new scope, so the discussion should be taken offline. Okay, I just finished adding the supercharge. Okay, this comment is report on project progress which makes it valid topic was completed here. Bill from accounting did not approve my trip to see the user. Is an impediment, so it's a appropriate topic for a standard meeting. Wendy from accounting won't go on date with me. This comment completely off topic and doesn't belong to daily and standard meeting. Okay, I am still stuck trying to attach a nose cone. Okay, impediment. You treat a backlog a nose cone because go on easily. But the nose cone should is related to solving the issue rather than simply reporting. The discussion should be taken offline. Okay, itulah dari domain 5 ini efektifnya. Activity is meeting. Activity is a technique that is used to quickly and technique of if a project has just started and has a backlog that hasn't been estimated yet or in preparation for its planning. Okay, it's beginning with the story point. Agile discovery. The concept of agile discovery is an umbrella term that refers to the evolution and elaboration of agile project plan in contrast with upfront traditional approach to project planning. It covers topics such as emergent plan and design versus project plan and designs, pre-planning activities to gather consensus on the best approach to follow, backlog refinement, grooming and how it is performed, estimating uncertain work versus certain work, the characteristic of new product development versus well understood and repeatable project. Agile discovery phase is a process of focusing on each piece of the project and nailing down all of it. Your project is the last thing to be left with unsaid detail and misinterpretation. Okay, agile discovery phase is all about getting to know your target audience needs, writing down requirement and creating a full scope for the project. It is a first basic step to obtain a reliable budget and development timeline estimation is a solid plan for your project that helps you avoid unexpected surprise such as bigger costs, extended timeline during the actual development. Architecture spike. Okay, architecture spike is a technical risk reduction technique popularized by extreme programming where you write just enough code to explore the use of a technology or technique that you are unfamiliar with. Spikes are periods of work undertaken to reduce threat and issue, and architectural spikes are iterations used to prove the technological approach. The spikes are blended into the release planning process. An architectural spike is a short time box short effort dedicated to proof of concept. In other words, checking whether the approach the team hopes to use will work for the project. For example, we may say we will spend 1 week testing the performance of the native database driver before making addition on connectivity, or we need to test the viability of using straw as a renewable home solution product. The idea is to explore the viability of an approach a candidate solution as a short-term frame. We are like can we do it? Also proof it will work to see if we can use the approach we have in mind. Jadi bedanya sama risk based spike aja, spike itu proof concept ya. Tapi kalau risk based itu yang benar-benar baru, tidak proof concept. Itu dia bedanya. Ada risiko di situ. Oke, agile sizing and estimation. Agile is about evaluating the effort required to complete each work item list in the priorities backlog, which is term help improve sprint planning. Estimate can be hard to grasp. How should a company know the amount of time it will take to complete a product backlog item so far in advance? How can they account for unforeseen impediment that arise? That is where agile estimation technique can come to the rescue. From agile project cost estimations to how long it will take to deliver, estimation are part of the daily greens. The project is likely to go off track without accurate estimation in terms of budget and time. Oke, jadi dia agile estimation is finding of the effort to require to complete its work item list in purchase backlog. Which system have improved sprint planning. Estimation can be hard to get how should the company know the amount of time it will take to complete a product item so far in advance. How can they account for unforeseen impediment that arise? This is where agile estimation technique come to rescue. From the agile project estimation to how long it will be take to deliver. Estimations are part of daily green. The project is likely to go off track without accurate estimation in terms of budget and time. Okay, backlog grooming, refinement. Backlog grooming, formerly known as a backlog grooming, is when the product owner and some or all of the rest of the team review items on the backlog to ensure the backlog contains the appropriate items, that they are prioritized, and that the item at the top of the backlog are ready for delivery. Okay, value-based analysis and decomposition. Backlog refinement-nya jadi dia itu semacam apa ya, formally known as backlog grooming is when the product owner and some or all of the test of the team review item on the backlog to ensure the backlog contains the appropriate items and that are prioritized and that the top of the backlog are ready to delivery. Okay, value-based analysis and decomposition agricultural planning is based on value-based analysis. This is the process of assessing and prioritizing the best value of work items and then planning accordingly. The process continue over the full life cycle of a project, impacting how we scope, plan, schedule, develop, test, and release work. At every stage of the project, we are tasking what is the business value of the item or practice and what item in this set have the highest business value. We then prioritize the work to deliver the highest value item first. Okay, ini dia. Value-based decomposition is a continuation of the process of value-based analysis. Here, the team exit requirement from stakeholder group requirement and rank those requirements and then pull the prioritized requirement into the development process. The figure below you may look like a typical agile project. Oke, jadi example of value-based decomposition proses pertama itu desain the product box, bikin exercise, dua itu feature workshop, ketiga itu candidate feature list, prioritas feature list, select features, plan, develop, evaluate, learn, recompose the feature into stories where the process, the stories and demo them as features to get benefit feedback and help retrospective increments of new functionality. Okay, then listen up. A daily stand-up meeting is a short progression meeting that is held. The meeting generally limited between 5 or 15 minutes long, something referred to as stand-up, a morning roll call, or a daily scrum. Ideal team. Okay, an ideal team estimate tell us how long a task will take if all other peripheral work and distraction or remove. Yeah. It assumes that the work item being estimated is uh, okay, ideal time. There is an up short urgent meeting that is held each day. The meeting generally limit to 5 or 15 minutes long, and sometimes to a stand-up meeting, money roll call, and daily scrum. Ideal time is the task about long will take peripheral work and instruction are removed. It assumes that the work item being estimated is the only thing that is being worked on, that there will be no interruption, and there we have everything we need to complete that work item, and other what we aren't waiting for someone else to deliver other work or provide information. Okay, iteration and release planning. Ini dia. Agile release planning is a project management method where you can incremental release of product differs from traditional software planning where you can focus on major release. In agile release planning, you are prepared to stage release and then break those down into several different sprint or iteration. Product roadmap. A product roadmap is shared source of truth that outlines the vision, direction, and progress into project over time. Progressive elaboration. Jadi bedanya apa nih? It's product management method where you plan incremental release, develop traditional product where you focus on major release, produce and then break out those items for different sprint or iteration. Okay, agile planning is product management method where you plan the release of product. It differs from traditional software planning where you focus major release. Kalau agile release planning itu you prepare stage release and then break down into several different sprint of iteration. Sedangkan product management share structure that outline vision, direction, and progress product for time. Progressive lesson is process of the project planning process group. It refers to the going of a project plan based on a new learning and insight about object during group project. The first rational stated breakers into several different set of iterations. Product is the truth that outline vision, direction, progress. Project over time progress evaluation is a process to project planning. It refers to the outgoing new learning and insight obtained. Project life cycle relative sizing, script and teaser sizing. Relative sizing is one of the several distinct flavors of estimation agile team. Consists of estimating tasks, not differently, but by comparing by grouping the item of it differently. Story point are metric of the project planning estimating the difficulty is structured for order implement in several term. Story is name the truth about the difficulty level of story. Research sizing, nah ini dia. Track more time, URL, research, XSR, task inclusive approach, requirement review, ensuring consistently and spotting defects. Agile testing team can improve the requirement review process by ensuring consistency, carefully determining testability, and spotting missing connections. A requirement review is a manual that involves people from both client and contractor organization. They check the requirement, document for anomalies and omissions. The review process may be managed in the same way as program inspection, see chapter 22. Afterly, it may be organized as broader activity with different people checking different part of the organization. The requirement review can be informal or formal. Informal review simply involves in contractor discussion requirement as many system stakeholders as possible. It is surprising how often communication between system developer and stakeholder ends after realization and there is no commitment that the document that recommend are what the stakeholder really said they want. Many problems can be detected simply by talking about the system stakeholder before making a commitment for a formal review. A formal requirement review should walk the client through the system requirement, explaining the implication of its requirement. The review team should check its requirement for consistency and should check the requirement as a whole for completeness. Reviewers may also check for Variability is the requirement as stated realistically testable. Comprise the procure and end user to properly understand the requirement. Traceability is the origin requirement clearly states. You may have to go back to the source, requirement impact to change. Traceability is low to pay off the rest of the system to be assessed. Adaptability is requirement to adapt this can record the change without large scale effect and other requirements. Conflict contradiction, effort, error, emission is the point out the review. Necessarily the system procedure and system developer to negotiate solution. This is the problem. As we expect, a short time box effort that the team set aside to investigate and hopefully reduce, eliminate an issue or threat to the project. This short experiment to investigate risky portion of the project are key tools for risk management. Story map. Story map is high-level planning tools that agile stakeholder can use to map out the project priorities early in the planning process based on the information available at that point. Time boxing. Time boxing is fixed duration on activities. If the work plan for time isn't complete for the time runs out, we stop what we are doing and simply move to the uncompleted work into another time box. Okay. History is defined as small chunk or business functions that involve 1 to 3 work for it. Defines basically for 40 hour work of work. Agile team typically break the product feature into user stories and write them in an index card and use the requirement management tool. This is single visible master list complete that work been identified for the project result priority. After user stories are written, they are listed sorted. User story black block for the project uh, wait for the project ya. Ini dia. Yang block for the project ya. Ini version hour yang sedang untuk apa gitu. Oke, 7 Whiteband Delphi Planning Poker. Whiteband Delphi estimation method to encompass best technique for estimating effort. It Delphi was developed in 5060 at the plan company and for question tools it names Salvo. It has been since gudangnya, but it's uh, but it's best technique estimating effort. It delivered that the from Delphi method which was developed in the 1650 60. The recognized forecasting tools in has been since the estimate many kind of tools ranging from statistical data collection, result, sales, and marketing forecast. Planning poker is agile estimating planning that is changes based to the stock poker planning. The project is related agile user story as the below. It's estimated all the way to India as the following which of the following which of the sequence we from recommend the value represent the number of story point the idealnya or other what estimator holding a deck and Okay, with the sequence, we recommend that the value represents the number of surveying the ideal days or other units with the team estimate. Nyata. Oke, holding. Oke. Oke. Oke, dengan demikian kita sudah ini saat malam kita sudah selesai terkait domain 5. Terima kasih semuanya.